Hello and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Your headlines in the southeast. Eastbourne becomes the first council in England to declare a cost of living emergency as inflation rises plunge thousands of families into financial crisis.
Eastbourne has one of the busiest food banks in the country, and we know that energy bills are skyrocketing, inflation has reached a 40-year high today, and people are feeling the pinch.
Wasted opportunity calls for urgent action as household recycling levels miss targets across the southeast.
Also this Wednesday, meet the few. A dozen veterans of World War II, average age 100, share memories at Biggin Hill.
And in the year of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, royal congratulations to this Kent couple on their 70th wedding anniversary. Good evening. A Sussex council leader is tonight declaring a cost of living emergency as inflation hits 9%, the highest level since 1982, plunging thousands of families and businesses into financial crisis.
Liberal Democrat-run Eastbourne Council says it wants the declaration, the first of its kind to be made in the country, to serve as a wake-up call to Boris Johnson. This from our political correspondent, Phil Hornby.
Sausages, £18 a bag. 26 now. Eggs, doubled. Bacon, £3 a pack more. Cheese was £12 a block. It's now £17. And they're my staple foods in here.
Running a small business like this one in Walderslade is anything but bliss at the moment. In fact, times are so tough, it's all gone to pot. Shirley Bliss's tea rooms are closing down after 7 years here.
I started doing my calculations, working out what I had to earn to what I had to pay out, and it wasn't. And my accountant also told me when he did the accounts that this is not working.
Business is booming here, though, at the food bank in Eastbourne and places like it across the southeast.
We have seen a really large increase in food bank use. We've had 78% increase between January and March of this year on the year previous. When you're thinking about fuel, food, rent, council tax, water, you can't actually even really make a decision between those things because you can't afford to pay for all of them. We are seeing a dip in donations as well. We are all feeling the pinch and noticing the difference in prices, aren't we, on food?
And the local council here are declaring a cost of living emergency in Eastbourne.
With this declaration today, I hope that the government will wake up and start putting in place the serious solutions to create a fair deal for normal people up and down our country. What was a cost of living crisis has now escalated into a cost of living emergency because of inaction from this government.
People going hungry, businesses going bust.
Karen, tuna melt's ready, love.
Whatever new help the government comes up with, for some, it will be too late.
Well, let's get more from Phil Hornby now. Phil, just one of many examples, I'm sure, of businesses really struggling and going out of business. What are the government going to do about it?
Well, Matt, the government say they've already done quite a lot, spending £22 billion to help people through this crisis, but they realise there's more they have to do, and there's more councils can do as well, they say, including Eastbourne Council. We've been talking to the town's Conservative MP.
The Conservative group on Eastbourne Borough Council has put forward a motion this evening whereby from its asset sales, and my Lib Dem run council is in the process of evaluating its property portfolio. It has very extensive holdings and is making a number of sales. They are proposing that a proportion of those sales are dedicated to a local fund to supplement and complement the work that the government is doing.
But there is huge pressure on the government here to do more, including possibly impose that windfall tax on the big oil and gas companies that Labour and the Liberal Democrats have been calling for. The Tories appear to rule it out. Now it's odds on they're going to do it.
Is he for it? Is he against it? Or is he sitting on the fence like his Chancellor?
We will look at all the measures that we need to take, Mr. Speaker, to get people through to the other side.
So to get us through to the other side, it seems likely that the government will announce that windfall tax or a variation of it in the next few weeks, which will be a huge climb down for the Conservatives. And then in the autumn, there's already talk of big tax cuts to give people more money in their pockets to help them through this crisis. But it is something that is completely dominating everything here at Westminster. And to be honest, there are no easy answers.
OK, Phil, for the time being, thank you very much indeed.
On to other news, and two boys from Ramsgate, aged 14 and 15, have been arrested in connection with a stabbing in Folkestone. Police were called to Middleburg Square at around 8 o'clock yesterday evening to a disturbance involving two groups. Two teenage boys were treated at the scene for stab wounds. They've been taken to hospital, where they both remain in a stable condition.
The Chief Executive of South East Coast Ambulance Service has resigned. Philip Astle has stepped down following a period of sickness. In the meantime, Dr Fiona Moore will take on the role of Interim Chief Executive until further arrangements are made.
Operation Brock on the M20 will remain in place until after the Platinum Jubilee bank holiday. Transport bosses say the traffic contraflow will not be lifted because of expected busy roads and reduced ferry capacity at Dover at the end of May. National Highways will remove the controls that manage the flow of freight heading to Europe from the motorway overnight on Sunday, the 5th of June.
Now, how good are you at separating your plastics, paper and cans at home? Because the latest figures show the average household recycling rate in councils here in the South East is 46%. That's below the government's target, which was to recycle half of household waste by 2020.
There are calls from a group of local councils for a national plan of action to encourage us all to recycle more and improve rates across the whole of the country. Here's Amrit Birdie.
On average, each person in the UK throws away around 400 kilograms of waste each year, 7 times their body weight. But what happens to that waste and how recycling is collected is different depending on where you live. There are no set rules that every council must follow and no penalties if they miss their targets.
A degree of standardisation would absolutely help. So definitely the materials that are collected, because then once councils have collected them, they will then be able to go on to the next stage and go through recycling infrastructure that will all be optimised for the items that will be collected. So that means more glass, more metals, more paper, more plastics, because they know the volumes are being collected in a consistent way, so they then can produce the processes that will enable that to happen.
That lack of standardisation is one of the reasons that recycling rates in England are so poor compared to the rest of Europe. We sit 18th in the international league table. It's a different story in Wales, known for its beautiful countryside, its coastlines and its rolling hills. But what you might not know is that it ranks 3rd in the world when it comes to recycling. They recycle more than 56% of their household waste, compared to England's 44% and 46% here in the South East. Recycling collections are standardised across Wales, with countrywide food waste collections. In England, only 1/3 of district councils offer a separate food waste collection service. What you can see behind me is 150 tonnes of household food waste, which is actually just a fraction of the waste an anaerobic digestion plant like this will see every year. The Welsh Government are keen not to let food waste go to landfill, where it will create methane, which, as we know, is terrible for the climate. Food waste disposal isn't offered to the same extent in England, and that could be a reason why we're lagging behind when it comes to recycling rates.
We've made it as easy as possible. We have something called a blueprint that the local authorities can follow. We know that works. We know that we're able to do it in diverse communities, rural and urban. You can just see the people of Wales embracing it, and our school children in particular are extremely keen on it.
In November last year, the Environment Act 2021 became law, which gives the government the power to enforce consistency in household and business recycling in England. The Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs say they want to introduce consistent collections across England to end the confusion for millions of homes and businesses, with a consultation having already taken place. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
Next, a dozen veterans of the Second World War gathered at Biggin Hill today for their annual reunion. Their average age now 100.
It was a chance to visit the famous Battle of Britain base, to exchange stories and to see Spitfires again. Tony Green has our report.
They know how to look after veterans from the Second World War here. But today the Spitfires weren't centre stage. Instead, it was these veterans, guests of honour at the Heritage Hangar at Biggin Hill, itself synonymous with the Battle of Britain.
It purely is to honour all these guys from the Battle of Britain, from the war, to bring them up here and to let them see the environment they used to be in. It's our pleasure to have them here. It's an honour to have them here. We enjoy it. I'm sure that they enjoy it, that they have all the tales to tell. And if those tales aren't recorded, by people such as myself, then it's gone.
George Dunn joined up as soon as he was old enough.
I chose the RAF. I saw a lot of the Battle of Britain being in Whitstable on the Kent coast. A lot of the flying went, and so I decided I'd plump for the RAF. It's nice to be here and have a chat with them. We're all getting on now. I should be 100 this year, and really look forward to getting together.
When you're here today and you see the Spitfire...
Oh yeah, it brings back a lot of memories, yeah.
What are those memories?
Well, taxiing and taking off, really, yeah. And air interception and things like that, yeah.
And is it important for you to come here because you can talk about the war here to people who also experienced it?
Yeah.
And there aren't many of those people left.
No, not many now. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm 95 and I was pleased to see 2 men 101. I've still got a chance.
Now 99, Jane Britton repaired and serviced Spitfires and Lancasters.
Station I was the only woman. I don't know what they done on other stations, but the station I was on was all men. And the way they spoke to me, I used to speak to them back. It's like that.
Why did you want to do that job?
Well, because I like being dirty and rough and, I like to be able to do something that you don't have to bother with, like petty little things I don't want to know.
Around a dozen veterans came to share stories and even in their advanced years make some more memories. Tony Green, ITV News, Biggin Hill.
Yeah, they really were an extraordinary generation. And Jane, good on you.
She summed it up, I think. Yeah, she gives it to him back. Brilliant.
Now, you're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Thank you so much for watching us. Coming up tonight, meet the butler of the near future. Would you have a robot in the home?
Yes.
And me too.
Definitely. Also, a narrow escape for a nest of baby birds who survived a close encounter with a tree surgeon in Sussex.
And remember, you can find more on today's top stories from right across the southeast by visiting our website. All you have to do is go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us. The number is 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
Let's get some sport. And Littlehampton Football Club are preparing for one of the biggest days in their history. They're off to Wembley on Sunday for the FA Vase final against Newport Pagnell. Littlehampton were recently crowned champions of the Southern Combination League, just a year after winning promotion back to the top flight. 7,000 supporters will be heading to Wembley from Sussex.
I would go as far as to say it's probably the biggest day in the town's history. To be able to take your whole town up to the home of football is just something that I don't think we'll ever see again. I personally don't think any manager in the country at our level sets out to win the Vase. Everyone talks about having a good run in the Vase, and for most clubs that's more than enough. For us and the whole town, we can't wait.
All the best to them. And the ITV Evening News continues here at 6:30 with all the details tonight. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the programme, inflation surges to a 40-year high, leaving us all feeling the squeeze. The Prime Minister has vowed to look at measures to help, but is it time for more actions and not just words? After Natasha's Law, now a new clinical trial to help people with severe food allergies. Pet owners are told to stop buying pugs. We'll explain why. And
what's going to happen tonight?
We're going to win. We're going to take that trophy home.
Rangers fans flocked to Spain for their first European final in more than a decade. We will be live in Seville. Would you join me for those stories and much more at 6:30?
Now, this time of the evening can be pretty hectic in many homes, getting the dinner sorted, tidying up around the house. So how would you feel about having a robot in your house to help with those everyday tasks?
I think it's a great idea, Matt. American entrepreneur Elon Musk does too. He says his company is currently working on producing humanoid robots to carry out chores. But would you welcome an AI butler into your home? And is that really where the future of robots lies? Here's Kevin Ashford.
Robots are already in our homes, doing things like vacuuming, so we don't have to. And with technology helping robots look more and more like humans, you get an idea of the sort of humanoid butler that's on the drawing boards of some cutting-edge companies. But would you be happy with a household helper powered by artificial intelligence? Well, this is what people we spoke to in Maidstone thought of the idea.
Oh, definitely not. I wouldn't have any, because it kind of takes out the fun, you know, on your day-to-day task, especially like if you're married or with kids. It's kind of a bit not useful, if that makes sense. And to repair it and everything must be very, very expensive.
Yes. It's like that TV program, Human. It's like having Uber Eats in your house. Like, I feel like we're the age of like we want things fast and we want people to help us with things.
Not at all. No, absolutely not. I can't imagine anything more annoying than having something that asks me questions that isn't human.
In reality, most robots that are being developed are for use outside our homes, like this one being taught how to dismantle electric car batteries. These batteries can be dangerous to take apart, which is why it'd be better if robots did it. The problem is, different car makers have different designs, which is why there's currently a need for human help in the task, although that may change in the future.
Right now we are working actually to reduce this kind of input from the human, and we are using machine learning techniques like, for example, deep neural network, that we are making a data set of different objects, images, and by training the AI algorithms we are trying actually to generalize the method, so we don't need in future, hopefully we don't need actually have specific information about the battery design from the manufacturers.
This is simulating a search and rescue situation where robots can be used to explore dangerous environments. Often there are several robots operating at the same time, and the aim here is to develop a way that robots can decide to think for themselves when necessary.
I'm trying to see how a single operator can control multiple robots, and when one operator is engaged with a certain robot, the others have to be able to make decisions for themselves, and they've got to be able to switch levels of control. And this is particularly interesting, and that's a very novel technique which we're developing in our lab.
Hi, I'm here for a meeting.
The idea of robots being able to think for themselves has caused concern in some quarters, although in a recent survey 56% of those questioned described themselves as trusting of robots, with 19% believing that robots should replace people doing physical work, with 42% saying they expected robots to be most useful in manufacturing industries.
I think it's right for the public to engage, because I think robotics is going to be something which becomes more and more pervasive in our lives. I think it's important for scientists like me and industry to engage with the public about robotics. But I really don't think there is any need for concern. But I think it is an area where we need to work together to ensure there is public trust for what science is delivering.
Next month we'll see a series of online events organised by academics and industry aimed at promoting the role of robots in the UK. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
I think I've changed my mind. I don't want one.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, as long as it did everything while I was at work, and then when I got back, it was back in its box.
Got it.
And if it annoyed me, I just pull the battery out.
Got it.
That's what I do. Now, it's a year, I'm not cruel. Now it's a year for platinum celebrations. The Queen's Jubilee is coming up, of course, and in Kent, one couple have been celebrating 70 years together.
Yes, Ron and Joan Burden, who are 90 and 88, were married in 1952, just after Elizabeth became Queen, and a Queen who did not forget them in their own platinum year, as Abigail Bracken reports.
Celebrating 70 years together with family in their garden in Ash near Sandwich, with the smiles and love that Ron and Joan Burden say have kept them together since they married in 1952.
What is the secret to staying married for 70 years?
Just generally taking care of each other, really. It's all you can say, you know. You take your vows and you try to abide by them, but to a certain extent. But you can't go 70 years without the odd little spat. It isn't.
Not really.
It isn't humanly natural.
We try not to argue, and if we do a bit, I go to great lengths to explain why I'm right. So hopefully that explains a bit.
They married in Sittingbourne when they were aged 18 and 20. Ron needed permission from the RAF as he was doing his national service at the time.
Yes, we had a decent little wedding, didn't we?
Well, I think things were very tight in those days. Things were hard to come by. There was still rationing on for a start. Post-war, there was still rationing. And even brides in those days were resorting to making their brides' dresses out of parachute silk. But but Joe managed to source some proper silk, so we was very lucky there. And our sister-in-law made the wedding dress by hand.
And for the Queen's coronation the following year, Ron was a member of the Royal Guard of Honour outside Buckingham Palace, standing outside for nearly 8 hours.
Yeah, Ron, you're just about there.
Yeah,
that's me.
About 3 in, wasn't it? Very
for a Queen who has now remembered them both for their own platinum celebrations.
When did this come? On the 17th of May 2022. May your celebrations be particularly happy and memorable, Elizabeth. What?
Favourite?
Yes. Your favourite colour?
Favourite colour?
You didn't tell me, did you?
No, we don't tell you everything, Mum.
No.
A surprise for them both as they enjoy their 70 years of married life. Abigail Bracken, ITV News, Ash.
I used to say I'm Philip, but we can't say that anymore, which is rather sad.
You always admired Philip, didn't you?
Yeah.
Always beautiful. Joan and Ron, congratulations from us too.
Yes. Now, a nest of baby birds had a very narrow escape in Sussex. When the tree they were nesting in began to be cut down, the blue tits survived when the chainsaw missed them by the narrowest of margins.
Well, they're now being tended to around the clock by a nature charity, as Derek Johnson reports.
Safe, warm and very hungry, these birds have been rescued and are being cared for in incubators after a tree surgeon saw them just in time.
As he was working his way down the stump, he suddenly realised that he'd cut through a tree which had a hole in the middle, and literally within a centimetre of where he'd cut with the chainsaw was this little family of baby blue tits. There were 5 of them in there, all snuggled up in a lovely little nest that Mum had made, and they were so close to being killed.
The problem was that the birds were hidden in a hole in the tree and couldn't be seen from the outside.
It's a really difficult one for tree surgeons and people cutting trees down. Generally, we would say just don't cut trees or bushes down during the spring and the summer months. Wait until sort of late September, October time before you do anything like that.
This lot are flourishing now, but they do need feeding every 15 minutes around the clock. Derek Johnson, ITV News.
Lovely. Pip's with us now. Pip, We've got more thunderstorms on the way.
We have, I'm afraid. Yes, so the Met Office have a yellow thunderstorm warning coming into force this evening. If you're yet to hear a rumble of thunder this week, like me, then tonight could be the night. Let's take a look at that warning area. So it covers basically the southeastern portion of the UK, the whole of the Meridian region. So in there, thundery downpours, torrential downpours, in fact, a risk of flooding as a result, lots of spray and standing water possible on the roads, some large hail possible thrown in for good measure, and gusty winds, as is often the case with this sort of situation. So if you are heading out and about on the roads this evening, like we will be fairly shortly, then do take very good care. That warning starts at 7 p.m, so not long to go, and it takes us through until 3 a.m. in the morning, when things should hopefully improve.
So not looking good at all in the short term, at least. What about these rumours of more blood rain as well? We had some a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well remembered actually, yes. If you cast your minds back to mid-March, we had that Saharan dust falling down on us in the form of rain, those sort of orangey red globules, hence blood rain, causing a right old mess on the cars. I think tonight, similar sort of situation, but the concentrations of dust are much lower, and fingers crossed we should have enough rain, not just to bring it down, but hopefully by dawn to wash it away as well. So hopefully we won't have to wash your car.
It leaves such a mess behind.
And I tell you what, there's better news coming for the weekend. High pressure's back in charge, dry and brighter.
Good. I think I've just realised I've not washed my car since March, but let's gloss over that. Right, let's get a check on the full forecast. Have you washed yours since then? Is it just me?
I do it regularly, Matt.
Sorry, it's terrible. Do apologise, need a robot. Here's a full forecast with Philippa.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Well, of course, it has been a fairly quiet day out there so far, but we do have that thunderstorm warning coming into force very shortly. Thunderstorms widespread across the region through this evening and the early part of the night. Torrential downpours, spray on the roads and all the hazards that potentially go with that. So do take very good care. All courtesy of high pressure just about in charge across the UK today, and it stays with us through the next couple of days. Further showers possibly on Friday, but into the weekend, signs of an improvement with the high pressure building in once more and settling things down. Out there at the moment, though, already we're seeing showers moving in from the southwest, those becoming widespread through this evening and tonight. Those torrential downpours expected. Certainly plenty of lightning on show out there for many of us as well. But as the night wears on, those heavy showers will move away. We'll return to generally dry conditions, still one or two lingering showers, some misty, murky low cloud and a mild picture all round with lows around 14 or 15 degrees for many. Tomorrow morning then, still a few residual showers, nothing too heavy, but mainly brushing the South Kent coast there. Those clearing away through the course of the morning, and actually for the rest of the day it looks pretty quiet. A return to dry conditions, some lovely sunshine, bit of high cloud making that sunshine hazy into the afternoon, but another warm one. Temperatures similar to today, creeping up into the low 20s, although I suspect it will feel just a touch fresher than it has done. These are the high tide times for tomorrow. Then for Margate, 2:42 in the morning and right on 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now through the latter stages of tomorrow, overnight into Friday, still a lot of dry weather around, but for Friday itself, we will see a return of showers from the southwest, just clipping the southeastern corner there. Thankfully, drier, brighter and still warm into the weekend.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
It looks as though pollen levels will generally be moderate over the next few days, perhaps locally rising to high in the best of the sunshine. Tree pollen the main culprit, grass pollen just getting going now too.
And you're up to date in the southeast. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News here with Mary Nightingale.
That is it from us for the time being, though. Plenty more, of course, online. You are back with a late update
I
later.
am indeed, Matt. Rub it in.
Good to know.
I'll be here.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.